All right, we're downstairs looking at the charging place where I keep the camping battery. And you'll notice that I have the battery on, it's at 100%. And I have a couple of these little camp batteries that are plugged into it, as well as a headlamp. I have a portable battery pack as well. And then I have what's called a Pecron smart charger. It's just sitting here. We'll look at that here in a little bit. But you'll notice I have 4 USB ports, a couple of them. This is USB-A, these are USB-C, and I have some power outlets here. Currently it's plugged into the house power, so it's at 100%. Both of these are plugged in via USB-C to the other portable batteries that have like straps so you can carry them around. And we use these when we're camping or in the truck, whatever, because it has some additional ports, some USB-A ports, some USB-C ports. You can plug it into solar if you have solar. But it also has these cool lights. So if I can turn those on, come on. You can get it brighter if you want. So if you're at your camp table, you know, you're cooking outside or whatever, you need some light, or you're in your tent, or you know, you just happen to be gonna have to walk to the potty or whatever else. Then you have these lights, and you can use these to like charge your phone and things like that. So let me turn this off. I'm sure it's blowing out the camera. All right. So what I want to show you is, I'll show you in the app exactly how much power is being sent out on the outlets and everything else. But first thing I want to do is to put the battery under some load so that when we look at the app, you can see what that's all about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug it from the house power. Right, so we're unplugged from the house power, and you'll see now that I'm still at 100%, and these are still fully charged. But now what I'm going to do is put a ceramic heater on it. Right, so we'll move the Pecron off, and we'll put the ceramic heater on it just to put this thing under load, and then we'll look at the app. Right, so I'm going to put it under load. And we're going to turn the outlets on. All right. And now we're going to turn this on. Come on. So now it's pulling 682 watts. Let's see if you can see that on the interface. So now it's pulling 1100 watts. And it's not on street power. Come on. So we're going to let this run just a little bit while we talk about the app. Okay, so what you see here on the screen is the Anker app, and I have 2 batteries being managed. One is the camp battery that I talked about in a previous video. It got really low on power, so I had to turn on the ceramic heater, and now it's charging at 78%. This is the battery we have that I just showed you in this video, the camping battery that has the ceramic heater connected to it as well, pulling 850 watts. We started at 100%, it's already down to 73% in, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. All right, so we are going to go back downstairs, grab the battery, remove the ceramic heater, and go take it to the truck. And we'll be right back. Okay, so we're over here at the truck. Get the doors open. And I'll show you guys how this all works. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let's get the hood open and I'll show you how we have this thing all wired. So what we have is a cable that goes from our battery. It's right here. And it comes in this loom, down and around, and then it goes down through the opening here, and then it just follows the frame rail underneath. Then it comes up through here. This is just plastic. So the bed is plastic, right? And it comes into a port through here, and I'll show you where that is. All right. So over there in the back, you'll see an XT90 port, and we'll go over there and I'll show it to you. So in here is the XT90 port. And all I did, because remember this bed is plastic, right? So it's plastic. All I did was I drilled a hole to put that connector in it. I fastened that connector, then I just plug this in, and then I can extend this cable. All right, so now I have that cable to wherever I want to put that battery. And the reason it's way up front like that is because eventually I want to put something in the back and I'll have the battery up front. But for right now, this is how it is. So I'm gonna go get the battery. Okay. So we have the battery. And we need to get a box. So we gotta go get the box. Okay. So in warm weather, what we do is we just put the battery in this little wooden box. And we would typically have a board that goes from here across, so this would sit right up against the board. All right, so we have the battery in here, and on the battery there is an XT90 port right here. Okay, so we take this cable and we plug this cable into this port, into the yellow port right there, right? And you'll also notice that this device is already set for 12.5 volts. So if the truck isn't producing at least that much power, this won't come on. And it'll turn off if the voltage goes below that. So we're gonna plug in this cable into that port, okay? And then we just set it in the box. Now this thing will get warm. It's got little fans on it, vents. It's got a fan. It's got vents on it, or fins on it. Okay, so we'll just set this in here. And then you take this side, and this all came with the kit from Pecron. All right, so this is just a typical solar cable. So we'll take this one and we plug it into here, into this port on the battery. Just like that. You put this next to the battery so that if something happens while you're driving, it doesn't smash the cable up against it. All right? Now remember, this is at 71%. So now what we need to do is start the truck so that this device, this Pecron device, can get 12.5 volts so that it can start charging this battery. So let's go start the truck. All right, so the truck is running, as you can probably hear. First thing we have to do is turn on the... So turn this on. Turn it on. All right. Let's checking to see if we have enough power for the output, and we do. Green light comes on. We're at least 12.5 volts. You put that back down. And you'll notice now that it says we're charging. We're charging at 220 watts, at 330 watts, at 450 watts, at 530 watts, okay? This is charging off the alternator, charging this battery, and it'll take about probably about half an hour to charge it to 100% at this level, but it'll charge it at 500 watts all day. And then once it gets totally charged, it'll just be like on maintenance mode. So the reason we use this box is because if you remember the little camp batteries that we have, we also have the ability to just set the camp batteries in this box. And they're all in one spot. Now obviously the battery is too heavy to just lift up this box and haul it around, but you can take the box out or take the battery out and etc. So we had somebody ask about what do you do when it gets frozen? And you've seen in images or videos that I've done before of an Anker Solix battery that is below its operating temperature, and it will continue to discharge power, but it won't charge anymore. So what do we do when that happens? Well, we have this little trick, and yeah, so let me show you. So what we do, unplug this from the power. Now you have your battery, you still have the box, but we have an insulated bag from good old Trader Joe's. And it's just a regular insulated bag. Set the battery in the bag, and you'll notice that there are vents on this side of the battery. And we come around, there's vents on this side of the battery. So you don't want to close off the vents. The other tricky piece we have is a piece of cardboard. We put the cardboard on top of the battery, and then we take the Pecron device and we set it on top of the cardboard. And why do we have the cardboard? Because remember, I told you, this thing gets warm. This gets warm. We don't want there to be any chance of melting any plastic or anything else, right? But the other key thing here is this thing gets warm. So when we close this up and zip this up, this running will keep this battery at a normal operating temperature. And that's basically it. That's the whole secret to the whole system. The Pecron device that plugs into an XT90 connector. This plugs into the Anker Solix battery. This generates 500 watts of power. It's got an on-off switch. Turn it on, turn it off. As soon as this device gets the voltage it needs, which you can set, as soon as it gets 12.5 volts, then you'll receive the output light, the green LED, and then you know you're good to go. So that's what we use to keep our portable camp battery charged. That's what we use to keep it safe during winter so it can charge itself. We don't have the solar panels. We don't have anything else like that. We just use the Pecron charging device, and life goes on. So if you have any questions about how everything's set up, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions, any other photographs or anything else you might want. And until we see each other again, be kind to one another. It's a crazy world. You all take care.